You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire youth wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
And together we are...
Raw Break.
Hey, welcome every single one of you. Thank you for being with us one more time, and we're going to be talking about everything that happened on NXT. A pretty decent show. I'm not going to shit on anything yet. I think that, most of the show was pretty cool, enjoyable, not stupid stuff. We didn't see zombies, for the ones that are still, shitting on that. Batista's been sending tweets and all of that, yeah. 30 years back, right, Paul?
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, at least both wrestling shows sent. Now, I want to ask, does that mean wrestling went 60 years back?
Yes, that's what I want to say.
I was going to say, but 60 years ago, wrestling was probably considered good if you asked the Cornettes of the world. But
yes, exactly.
Yeah, NXT, it was a pretty decent show overall. They're leading to a lot of, big matchups coming up. We had a big matchup tonight in the main event. And, the big thing that I took out of this that I really enjoyed was, I believe it's next week, correct?
Yes.
Finn Balor and Karrion Kross, too. So that'll be good. And we also found out who Frankie Monet's first opponent's going to be. So next week's, it's looking to be a pretty good show.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be really cool. So thank you for being with us, family. One more time, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and give the video a like so it goes higher in the rankings. Let us know. Thank you to everybody that's commenting. Terrence Clark, we had you comment also on the video for the Wrestlemania Backlash. So thank you so very much for that. Don't forget to support us. Jean-Paul goes on everything that happened yesterday. 3 insufferable hours of Monday Night Raw. Everybody in social media just say, why is this show 3 hours? There's no way to justify this because it's absolutely boring, awful, and NyQuil, and then you have a recipe right there. If you want to fall asleep, just watch the show. Despite of that, Kofi Kingston ruins Bobby Lashley's open challenge.
Yeah, Monday Night Raw, the whole theme of it, Bobby Lashley MVP issued an open challenge for Bobby Lashley. Bunch of people like Damian Priest, Sheamus, Shelton Benjamin, even T-Bar and Mace, all of them said, we're going to answer this call. Was it any of them? No. Kofi Kingston just walks out in the main event.
The worst of all.
Yeah, so that kind of killed it, and especially considering he won, and like I said, with the help of Drew, so we'll probably see, the New Day and Drew McIntyre going against Bobby Lashley, Matt Riddle, and Randy Orton, because Matt Riddle now turned heel. He turned on the New Day to join Randy Orton. But besides that, the only thing of note was a great match between Asuka and Charlotte. That pretty much, it didn't save the show, but at least it was one shining spot.
The only thing that you can actually watch again.
Exactly.
If you ever want to watch this, 3 hours that you have absolutely nothing to do, midlife crisis, watch that because it's the only savable thing. Exactly. So let's move on to this poll. The show started with a feud that started in the pre-show for NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, and that's Toni Storm against Zoe Starks. A pretty good match though. This time finally Toni didn't give us the shorts that I'm used to, that we both love. She came out with no leather, all good, but at least the match was pretty good. And this time finally Toni found herself. So that's what I can see, the whole thing. They gave us a pretty good match. Zoe Starks is absolutely great wrestler. She's pretty good with everybody that she's been put in. So I like that.
Yeah, this match, these two have good chemistry.
Yes.
And, they had the feud there. It's been going. And, this is good. What did we say? We said Toni needs to win. You need to solidify her character. And she looked really dominant in this, especially, during the picture-in-picture. That's usually when they have the heels dominant, which is kind of dumb. It's why can't you show the heels looking good on actual TV instead of just in picture-in-picture? But, whatever. She looked good. She hit the Storm Zero. Zoe kicked out. And, yeah, it was
my God.
And I was like, that's kind of bullshit. I was thinking Zoe's going to win then. I'm like, that's her finisher. But soon after, she debuted a new finisher, I guess, almost like a Death Valley driver or some kind of move. She, dropped it right on the side of her head, almost off her shoulders on the side and then hit her right off, on her neck. So that was a devastating-looking move. Toni Storm gets the win, which is what she needed. And because Toni Storm, even though she might not be world known, but she's a bigger name, I think, right now than Zoe Stark. So you really need to capitalize on Toni Storm. And Zoe's new here. She can afford to lose. And so this was a good win for Toni. And then we hear Frankie Monet's music hit. So she comes out, of course, with a little dog and everything. We know her match is next week. Commentary saying, Toni Storm probably doesn't like this, blah, blah, blah. She's, kind of stealing her thunder after this big win. So it's safe to say that this is probably going to be her debut match next week. I don't know if they actually confirmed it, but this is most likely it.
They confirmed the one thing, the debut, yes, is next week, but I don't know if they confirmed Toni, or maybe, maybe she just fights like a jobber, a girl that is just starting, and then next week or in 2 weeks you start feuding with Storm. I'm not completely sure because, Toni just got to win, and then she goes against Frankie, and Frankie's going to have to win. So like it's a safe bet that like maybe in like a few weeks they're gonna set out for this because I guess Frankie's gonna be a babyface. You know, and then Tony's still the heel, so we'll see. But like you said, good match, and then at least we see Frankie. We have to see her in the ring because we haven't seen her. And it's like what, like a month and a half, 2 months. That like remember they teased with Io, they teased something with Amber, with Shotzi, and now finally we're gonna get that match. So that was really good. So, Paul, tell me a little bit about this because it was like really well done. You know, the prime target, Finn Balor and Karrion Kross, a beautiful, like one thing we always said, you know, about this video packages that NXT does. Like they make you feel that this is like a fight, but like a shoot fight. You know, like it is actually real, and everything about this video package was really, really good. Both of them watching the matches. They've done that before already. Remember, A-Kid and Tyler Bate did the same thing. So, like, I really enjoy this. And, you know, it makes you hype. Like you said, it really makes you want to see this match all over again.
Yeah, you know, I'm looking forward to this even more so, I think, than the first time. Because, you know, not just because of how they hyped this up, but it's just, you know, that definitely helps. You know, you got Paul Heyman on there. You know, he's like, oh, I'm interested in this match. He's like, hell, even the tribal chief has interest in this match. You had Pat McAfee talking about this. You had, you know, NXT analyst or whatever.
The analyst, one of the analysts, yes.
Yeah, so all these people were talking about this match, hyping it up. I like how Balor says, I went into this match with him. I didn't underestimate him. I knew exactly what I was getting in the ring with. You know, so he's putting over Karrion. Karrion kind of puts over Finn. And I like when they have the sit down. And Balor pretty much says he's ready for him. He's going to beat him. And then Karrion just goes, you're full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, they keep it so, like, it's real.
Yes.
Now, of course, like, we always joke, oh, but then they're on Instagram, you know, they're live and smiling and stuff. But, you know, if you forget all that and you just focus on the show, these guys are, you know, they are 100% legit. And even Balor says, I'm going to prove that I'm the best in the world and blah, blah, blah. I'm the best wrestler. I think that might have been what he said, that he's the best wrestler in the world. And then that's when Karrion was like, you're full of shit. Because it almost had like a, you know, like a boxing or like a MMA sit down where they're sitting at a table and, you know, talking and stuff. They probably did that interview for somebody or somewhere. But, you know, this was really good video package. The way they hyped this up, the music, everything is so good. And, I mean, like they said, Balor, you know, he says that feels like he needs to win. He has to win. Is he going to win? Probably not, but, you know, then where does he go from here kind of deal? Because we've seen a lot of stuff. I mean, if he's going to win, I think he needs to bring back the Demon, but I don't think they're going to do that, especially not for, you know, just a random show on a Tuesday. You know, that would be something for a takeover, but regardless, I'm looking forward to this match.
Yep, like you said, probably I'm thinking Karrion will win, and then Finn goes like to Walter. Because we haven't seen Walter in like forever. So then you remember they've been teasing that like, you know, before pandemic and everything. So I feel that should be the goal. I'm at least, you know, what I can see it. But if they give the title to Finn, then Karrion will go to main roster. You know, easy. Like, okay, Karrion legit, 2-time NXT champion. All right, go to Monday Night Raw. We need heels. Maybe we need a baby face doing the Scarlet, all of that. So a really good package, you know, video package, and I'm looking forward for this. Like you said, like even like the analyst was saying, no, Finn Balor needs to win because other than that, he has nothing. So like you know, put all the stakes in this match. So pretty cool. Yeah. I enjoy that exactly. So tell me a little bit about this. This is like what? This is probably like the comedy side of the show. Doesn't really matter. Candice and India just having, you know, treatment for her faces, the facial stuff. One of the guys is Dexter. Then Indy's like, oh, you know, thank you, Candice, for like letting me see the truth. Thank you for like, you know, not make me get involved with this guy. He sucks, all of that. He gets also, and then he leaves. But then later on, Paul, right? Like then she actually
we might as well talk about them both. And I did like that when she was like, oh, you know, he's so creepy. All he does is just stare at me, and he's just like. I mean, that was funny. You know, I did laugh. I have to admit. And then later on, you know, when they're done, they go to pay for it. They're like, oh, your card was declined, you know. And she's like, oh, can you swipe it again? She's like, oh, we tried it a couple times, and there's charges on here for, like, flowers and chocolates and stuff. And then Indy's like, wait. So I thought you said that Dexter bought those for, you know, Ember and Shotzi. And she's like, and then she's like, wait, he didn't. So that must mean he still loves me. Oh, Candice, he still loves me. And she's all excited. And Candice is like, So I mean, yeah. I mean, that was what it was. But the first segment popped me. I'm like, okay, that's funny. But
exactly. Yeah, when it's done right, you laugh.
Yeah, but I mean, after what we saw in the main event, the way's already done. Like we said, they were on life support. They won the belts, and it's like, okay, beep, beep. Now the heartbeat's back. Now it's To me,
It's a lie. It's like when the ones finally got the titles, the other one loses it. So they can never be a staple. They cannot have the goal at the same time. It is what it is. Let's talk about Cameron Grimes. The guy was actually he arrives to the NXT like Performance Center. He throws like the keys to Jake Atlas. He's like, park the car for me. And he's like, oh, I'm not doing that shit. And he's like, oh, you want to settle this in the ring? And he's like, I'm always on, baby. And he mentioned something about Teddy DiBiase, right? So they have the match. He was talking about Teddy DiBiase. Like, Cameron's looking really nice at the beginning, dominating. But then you saw here, Teddy DiBiase finally showed up. And of course, he has in the most babyface fashion. He causes distraction from Cameron, and it allows Jake Atlas to get the win. So I don't know how you felt about that, but it was what it was. We also got a video package like of Teddy DiBiase, like he's like getting beat up and all of that. So what did you think about all of this?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. Cameron Grimes, he's trying to bury Ted DiBiase. He's like, here's the real Ted DiBiase. And like you said, you see him getting beat up, eliminated at Royal Rumble, all that stuff. And then, he comes out, causes Cameron Grimes to lose. And then he's pissed off. Cameron Grimes is obviously. And, next week they're going to have a big face-off or stare-down, whatever they coined it. And, that's hopefully where it's going to be like, hey, you need me, kid. Like, because he always says, he's like, you're not $1 million man material. You're not $1 million man, all this stuff. So, again, I want to see them team up. I want to see them be a manager. If you're having DiBiase make all these appearances, you might as well, get a lot of mileage out of him, have him be on TV. And it's also something to pop the ratings, because what does AEW do? They have a lot of legends on there.
Yes.
Sting, Jake, Taz, they have all these legends. So why not bring back one of your own? And, you put him with Cameron Grimes. I'm all for it. We've been saying it for weeks. So I don't mind Cameron Grimes losing here because, like what do we always say? It's not like he's presented legit. It's not like Jake Atlas beat Finn Balor or beat Karrion Kross.
No.
Somebody like that. He beat someone who's constantly.
He can lose anytime, exactly, because the character, it doesn't have, it's not legit, like you said. It's good, it's great, but it's not legit winning. Mm-hmm. So his legitimacy comes from like, oh yeah, it's funny, he can get you pop and everything, and the thing with DiBiase is good. So I like everything that you said. I like that analysis. Use him, get a lot of like the $1 million man. And remember, he lost. He wanted to go to the car and like, DiBiase, like, good luck, kid. So like all that stuff. Tell me a little about Pete Dunne. He got a sit down interview with like the guy that also does. He's a sports commentator. I don't remember the name, but like he actually analyzes NXT and all of that. He gives you like that sports vibe and like vibe when he goes, like he talks about NXT and all of that. So like he's asking a lot of things to Pete Dunne. He's like, hey, you remember you were the best wrestler in the world. Well, what's next for you? And then he goes, well, Walter, I have unsettled business with him. Unfinished business with him. The NXT UK is my field, all of that. So he said, Finn Balor, I did that. And so he was going around all of that. So I really like that. And even he said about the fans. What do you think about your fans? It's like, well, they like when I do the joint manipulation, all of that. So good. I think it's a good promo and showcasing Pete Dunne in a different light.
Yeah, I like this. And, even though I think Pete Dunne is heel, this was kind of just like a middle-of-the-road interview, which, I mean, that's good because he doesn't need to be a heel to the interviewer. He's just asking him questions. So I like this, how he was more like legit. And he's like, Kushida, I've already beaten him, so I can take that title from him anytime I want. And I like that cockiness. Like, Kushida, to me, he's bullshit. And, he said, like, oh, where'd you learn your style? What's your style, Jean-Paul?
Exactly. I don't know what your style is, yes.
He's like, from everywhere. A little bit of American wrestling. He's like, mostly the old school British style wrestling. A little bit of Japanese. He's like, all over. I just kind of combined it, made it my own. And like he said, he runs through all these people's names. But the big thing he said is the one thing that's been missing from his career is the NXT title. Because he said he's done everything that he can do in his home brand, NXT UK. So that's why he's here. So his main goal is Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to see. So that's why, not to book too far ahead. I'm pulling for my boy Balor, but if he loses, Pete Dunne might be the next guy to challenge.
It could be, and it would be a good feud too. Because like you said, like Pete Dunne is used to like fighting guys way taller than him and way more powerful with Walter and all of that. So it will be a good match. But like you said, we found out a little bit more than Pete Dunne, rather than the promos, rather than what we already knew. It was more like him telling us about himself. That was really good. So tell me a little bit about like this was like 5 seconds.
Finally, I was gonna say all I can tell you was a little bit because the match was only a little bit.
Yeah, it was like 2 seconds. Like finally Killian Dane against Alexander Wolf. it was really quick, that like you said, like you missed it, and it was like 2 seconds, and then you already missed it. He once again he hesitated about using the table or the chair. Using the chair on on Killian Dane, he did like a crossbody, 1, 2, 3, he gets the win. That was it. And then you think that like Imperium is still behind their boy, but like are they splitting up, or this is a form of punishment? You will say, because the guys from Imperium like Agner and also Bartel go and start attacking Alexander Wolf. So what's going on here, Paul?
I mean, I would say Imperium's splitting up, and as much as we loved Imperium, you asked us a year ago, we would have been, putting our hands behind our backs like that and humming the theme song. Now, I mean, hey, Walter is on every milk carton across America. Where is he? And in the UK, I think they drink milk over there. It's like, where's Walter? Nobody's seen him. So, Imperium, it seems to be cracking at the seams here. Alexander Wolf is probably going to join back up with Killian Dane, Drake Maverick. There'll be a little group or something, because they kept saying, oh, these two have history. And they actually mentioned Sanity. They actually mentioned them by name, which surprised me. I thought WWE would try to sweep that under the rug.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, man, we dropped the
because they're young,
yeah, exactly, and all that. But, and it's like Nikki Cross, who's that? But, this was, they did mention it, and we did see the hesitation. So Alexander Wolf still kind of considers Killian Dane a friend. And with him getting beat up here, that's usually, the recipe for him turning babyface to join up with Dane and Maverick. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't really know what you're going to do with the other two guys. Because to me, like, at least when it's three of them, you're like, okay, it's the three of them. But just the two of them, Eichner and Bartel, like, without Walter, you know what I mean? They just don't feel like special.
Yeah, the group is really fragile. It's really weak. Like the two of them, great tag team, yes, but like you need like the main piece that is Walter, and the guy not being there. Everything that they accomplished last, before pandemic and all of that, how strong they were. Now it's just like lost. It's like, whatever. Like you don't hear from the guys. So like, and also here they're not featured prominently with.
And I know you, and I know you loved the New Age Outlaws, but to me that's like having them, like whether you have like Triple H there in China, but you just like take them away and then you just have the tag team. Yes. Like, okay, yeah, they're legit, but without the leader, without the whole group. They don't feel it
takes it away, yes. Like again, and like again, they're not fighting for the titles. They're not chasing after the title. They're just there. So like, if the New Age Outlaws wouldn't be fighting for the titles, then what's there for them to do?
Exactly.
So yeah, there you go. And let's go to like another seed. We go from tag to tag. We go to like Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher against Legado del Fantasma. They were like, oh well, like there's no clear number one contender here, so we're gonna have a match. And Legado del Fantasma said, yee, we'll do it. Let's have it. And I mean, they had a pretty good match. Probably the best match of the night.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. This was really good. I believe it was Mendoza. He was in there for most of this thing, really selling it, selling for the other team, put them over. Ciampa looked good in this. Thatcher looked good. Of course, they put them over big time. They're big stars, especially Ciampa. And, there was a point, I believe it was Wild, or unless it was Mendoza. One of them got, like, kind of hit real bad in the face. They actually had the medical team look at him. They cleared him, and everything was good. So, this match, it was a lot of back and forth, but it was still mostly dominated, I would say, by the baby faces, yes. Ciampa and Thatcher, but still really good. They always do the spot, which to me, it reminds me of DIY, and I feel like it's always a callback to DIY, so it doesn't really pop me because it makes me think of that, where, like, you have Ciampa and Gargano would always be doing the double submissions, and the rest would be like, oh, I do. And they do that here with Thatcher and Ciampa. It's like, hey, it was cool when you guys did it 5 years ago. It's not cool anymore. Sorry. And
the one that like he does the like 10,000 clotheslines. I don't like.
Oh yeah. When he hits the ropes, and to me that you look like an idiot when you're just in the ropes.
And then you keep like receiving the move. Yes.
Yeah. To me, I mean, okay, maybe 1, 2, and then the next time you get out of the way, like you bait him into the corner and duck and whatever, do a drop toe hold. He hits his face on the turnbuckle, then you die, you come back. But eventually, when it looked like the baby faces were going to kind of win this, we see your boys, the grizzled young veterans. They come out and, they beat up Ciampa. Of course, the ref is, blind as a bat, and he doesn't see it. So Ciampa gets beat up, and it gets our boys, Legado del Fantasma. They win. And like commentary said, Regal, this would definitely have to maybe put them in number one contendership. And I don't know why. It always has to be a match, and then it has to go to Regal later and go, yeah, I guess they're the number one contender.
That's
why can't it just be before the match? Yes, William Regal said this will be the match to determine the number one. We never have an official number one contenders match anymore. It's always just
That's something that is really really true. Yeah, yeah. They should just say
unless
that.
unless it's like, oh, when they did like the ladder match or something like that, like a really big match, something like that. But hey, MSK, were feuding with Legado, the Thatcher and Ciampa. They wanted a shot. Okay, you teams both have a bunch of wins. You've beaten everybody except each other. So now, boom, #1 contender match.
Exactly.
Just set it up.
It just makes sense. But like you said, I would much rather like to just be like a #1 contender. Okay, cool. Now what we know instead of like, oh, this should put them in a situation, and then of course you go to Regal, and Regal said that in 2 weeks MSK is going to go against the Legado del Fantasma for the tag team titles. Like you said, good win by them though, and the Girls Young Veterans helping them out. That's really cool. Those guys should be the champions for me, not MSK. But what do we know?
Yeah, I mean that just shows that the feud between the Grizzled Young Veterans and Ciampa and Thatcher isn't over.
And good. The Girls Young Veterans need to go over that feud also because like Ciampa and Thatcher, yeah, they're good, but like, do we think that they're attacked? No. Baby faces, not really, not too much. So that's at least what I think. There you go. Let's go to like Aaliyah and the Rubber Stone brand and all of that. She goes against Sheree. Pretty quick match, good. The girl keeps having more hype, and that's fine. And I think that like after this though, she needs to have a feud now because she can't just have her just matches and wins. Like I guess okay, you got your feel for it now. You know what everything's all about. So now give me a feud. Start feuding with somebody. But a good performance by Sheree, and Aaliyah is a pretty decent wrestler, so like she always help out. Like the match was pretty average for me.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, this was a quick win, good for Sheree. And if you've got to think about it, who really is there for her to go against heel-wise? Like, who are some heels? You have Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. We'll talk about their segment next. But, there's Toni Storm. But is she feuding? Is her feud still going on? Zoe Starks? Is she going to feud with Frankie Monet? We don't really know. Candice and Indy are in the tag team. So who's really a singles heel for Sheree to go against? To me, it has to be Toni Storm. I don't really know because Io's babyface, but we really haven't seen Io for a couple weeks. I don't know. They turned Mercedes Martinez babyface, I would say. So again, I don't really know, but this was a good win for her. Of course, Aaliyah's kind of at the bottom of the barrel. Maybe they'll bring back Xia Li, but then what? Sheree goes over Xia Li. Then what was the weeks?
The training, all of that.
I don't really know, but this was a good win for her though. But then
I like the finisher also, like a back body drop into like a driver. But pretty good stuff. Like you said also, like let's tell me a little about this Diamond Mine. Who is it? Like a lot of people keep seeing promos. A lot of people thought it was Tessa Blanchard. No, it's a guy. It's a guy. I think it's that Parker dude. Like that guy that looks like Brock Lesnar. I think that could be the guy, but like I don't know. They keep teasing this guy as a rival, and I guess it's fine. They keep doing it. Like, but we want to see him now because every time. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just because he's big and he looks like Brock Lesnar, that don't mean he's gonna be as good as Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean? I don't really know. To me, I'm not. They were hyping this guy up, and usually when they hype somebody up, they're usually not very good. Yes. They usually never live up to the hype. So to me, he keeps showing these vignettes, and we don't even see the guy. How green is he? Like, is he that bad that we can't even see him? So I really don't know, and I'm not going to get excited. You know what I mean? Yes. To me, it's
Exactly. It needs to be like a matches, the guys with like a promo-wise, all of that. We got to see the qualities in the guy to get excited. So let's go, Paul, to like hit the road. Like, like this guy's like finally Isaiah Swerve Scott, his group, hit row. He goes against Tony Nese and Aria Daibari, like Aria Daibari, like the brother of Daibari. So like they have a pretty good match, good showing. They're a good tag. So, you see they get the victory, and I think that they solidifying them. Like Isaiah Swerve Scott now, he can actually relay on these guys. I like, Adonis. Adonis is pretty cool. He got a good super kick. So it was a pretty quick victory also. So like you said, they're establishing teams here. They're giving them wins so people can actually get behind them and understand what they're going for. Because these guys can easily be added to that tag team mix in NXT.
Yeah, I like, this was a good quick win, unfortunately for Tony Nese and Davari. But, what are you going to do? They've already been presented as such losers. So, it is what it is. Even though, they're both great wrestlers, but you have to solidify Hit Row. Good win for them. And, I like this because this is, Swerve Scott, this character he plays, this is the best character he can play because it's an extension of himself. I'm not saying he's an asshole or anything, but, he is a rapper, a producer. He does all this stuff. These are his friends. This is more natural. And everybody loves playing a heel. everybody loves being a prick. Everybody loves telling other people off, saying I'm the best. Everybody plays a heel really well. So this is good for this group, and they needed that win. So I'm fine with it.
Exactly, I'm fine with that too. Good promo. Good promo from them. Good match. They need to keep going like this. We'll see what they do with them. But like you said, something about Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, they had a promo. Also, Shotzi and Amber Moon, they had another promo. And William Regal said that they're gonna go against each other, and then whoever wins will become the number one contender against the Way for the women's tag team titles. Really the same thing. The same thing.
Yeah, because you don't build up any other tag teams like Aaliyah and Jessie Kamea. They were a tag team, and there's nothing with them. You had Priscilla Kelly or whatever her new name was, Gigi something. Where's she? She's been nowhere. You signed a lot of these women, and we never see them.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that, but I did like backstage when they were interviewing Dakota Kai and Raquel. I don't know what they were talking about, something on a backstage segment or something, whatever.
Yeah, I think it was something backstage, yeah.
I didn't see that, I didn't see it on YouTube, so I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. But then I love when Everrise comes up and they're like, oh yeah, blah, 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 we're the best tag team in the world, all this stuff. I'm like, clearly it's the Young Bucks, and that popped me. So, that was good. And then when Raquel beat them up, that was even better.
Well, yeah, you presented Raquel really powerful and strong. So that was
cool. To me, just because they're saying, yeah, Raquel could beat up the Young Bucks.
Yeah, probably she could.
Not probably, she could.
Yeah, there you go. She could. So there you go. Raquel, watch out if you see the Young Bucks beat them up. There you go. Now, also, Paul, like you said, next week is going to be the world premiere. We're going to see Frankie Monet. She's going to be debuting, so that's cool. I think finally we're going to see this girl fighting because we haven't seen Taya Valkyrie in such a long time. So we need her. We need the Roads of Valhalla, right? We need that move. We need all of that. So that was really cool. And now, Paul, remember, in next week is going to be Karrion Kross and Finn Balor 2. This is going to be an amazing match. We reserve our prediction yet. Even Paul Heyman said, it's going to be really close. So I'm not saying anything yet. So we'll see. So now tell me a little bit about the North American Championship match. Bronson Reed, the colossal Bronson Reed going against Johnny Gargano. Pretty entertaining match. I think that they used the cage, so that was good because normally they don't do that anymore. At least they try to escape from the door. Little things that I picked up on the match, I really like. The winner, maybe not a lot of people. You're not happy with that. I mean, I understand why they did it, but I think that the match was pretty decent though.
Yeah, I mean this match went exactly the way I thought it was going to go until the last 30 seconds of it. But Gargano, he sells for Bronson Reed, obviously the bigger, stronger opponent, but he uses his quickness and pretty much Austin Theory to get advantage when he can. This is good, and the ref really can't do too much because it's a cage match, so it's technically no DQ, nothing like that. So Austin Theory being out there, what's he really going to say? What's he really going to do? I mentioned Triple H in China before. That's how Triple H won a lot of his cage matches early on, with the help of China and all this stuff. So that's how you cheat. That's how a heel wins.
Exactly.
So Bronson Reed, able to overcome a lot of that. Like you said, climbing the cage. I love when Gargano did the sunset flip power bomb on him.
That was really cool.
That was good. And when he did the Poison Rana, also on Bronson Reed, really good. And when he hit that Poison Rana, that's when Gargano should have easily walked right out the door. He could have been whistling a tune, and walked right out the door. No, that's not what he did because he's like, oh, I got to hit my finisher. And then that's when Bronson Reed was able to catch him, make the big comeback and everything. And then, we saw the big tsunami off the top. Or he almost did just a big splash, and then, even though it's the same thing, the tsunami, then he climbed back on the ropes again.
He did it twice, yes.
Yeah, which to me, that the one he did, the first one was from a higher altitude. It was more devastating. So I don't know why he didn't pin him on that, but maybe like we say, sometimes in wrestling, people will hit their finisher 2 times in a row to really put that nail in that coffin to be
or leverage, they would say.
Yeah, leverage. Exactly. So, he hit that second tsunami. 1, 2, 3, and we have a new North American champion. See, when he went to go do the second one, that's when I would have had Gargano roll out of the way, and maybe Bronson Reed is like, oh, I'm done, whatever. And then that's when Gargano could have won, retained his title, just to solidify the way a little bit more. Because then, they have the women's tag titles. He has a North American title. But they hold those titles at the same time for 2 weeks?
2 weeks, that was it.
Yeah. So not very good. And again, Cody Rhodes here, we see him with all the fireworks and the pyro. I don't understand that. Are we going to see Karrion Kross with fireworks and pyro tomorrow or next Tuesday? Probably not. So I don't know why. They're really pushing Bronson Reed, which I don't see him being the North American champion forever. I could see it being kind of a title reign like Damian Priest. Okay, 2 months. Okay, thank you. See you later.
Then, well, like you said, there's a lot of heels that they can benefit for this guy to be the title holder because, for example, Cameron Grimes finally can go against that. We can also see Dexter Loomis maybe going against LA Knight.
I was just going to do LA Knight.
Yeah, we didn't hear from LA Knight. We didn't hear from Kyle O'Reilly. I mean, not Kyle O'Reilly is, of course, in the title picture in the main part. LA Knight should be the guy that starts feuding right now, right off the bat, because that will be a good.
And then another thing to mention as well, because speaking about heels and challenging people, we did hear from Bobby Fish. He pretty much said, "I didn't come back to help Kyle O'Reilly, all this shit." He said, "I came back for one reason, and that's Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan. They broke my arm in the War Games and everything, so he's coming after them." So that is going to be, when we talked about Pete Dunne earlier, maybe that'll be his in-between feud before he goes on to Karrion Kross or something. So NXT, they have a lot of pieces going in the right direction, but some things still make you scratch your head. But overall, I would say pretty good show.
Yeah, exactly. And, no new North American champion, a lot of good stuff. So there you go. At least, this week are actually a lot happier. Tomorrow is AEW, so, bless our hearts. Bless our hearts. Expect the unexpected, because it's Wednesday and you know what that means. But days at least we're actually really happy with it. So thank you so very much, family, for being with us. Don't forget one more time to subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and also give the video a like so it keeps getting higher in the rankings. More people get exposed to what we do. Where else can they find us, Paul?
And make sure you follow us, Rope Break, on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
So there you go, family. Tomorrow we'll see each other for AEW Dynamite, and you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...